welcome to the very first episode of Season 1 of Sharpest Tool. I am still in Hunger Games finale garb, but I figured it was appropriately gothic and vibey for this series as well to intro it. This is going to be my normal intro spiel plus a couple of extra things I wanted to say for this series specifically, so if you are not new around here and you know the usual things I say at the beginning of these series, you can skip to this time here to just hear the new stuff and then head into the show. But I am mainly jumping in at the beginning before we actually get to the fun in the episode to say welcome! If you are new around here, I wanted to explain that these are archived streams. So I do stream over at twitch.tv/Rosina18. We have lots of fun over there, lots of Sims 4 things if you are interested. And on Fridays, we do more produced, put together things such as reality shows or scripted shows like this. Sharpest Tool is my second scripted show. I already have one called Traitorous. If you'd like to watch it, there'll be a card where you can go watch that. That is a dramatic ass little soap opera that we love around these parts. There's 2 seasons of that. But I largely want to jump in and tell you it's a stream, so that way you know it is not pre-recorded or anything. It is from a live stream. When I do scripted shows, I do just, you know, machinimate and like show you the whole thing and read the script out loud live as we do the show. And so since it is live, things can get a little bit wily. That's why, you know, if there's Sam's not in the right place or whatever, it's not like I'm reshooting it because we're all doing it live. I try and cut out those moments when I archive them here, but there might be 1 or 2 I miss. Also, if I am looking to the side or if I say anything, it's because it is chat that I am reading, although I try and not read chat during the stream when I do scripted ones. However, again, if there is any moment that I happen to look to the left or if I like smile at something or read something out, it's chat. And that's what's going on. If there are any cuts in this, I promise I'm not cutting out any of the juicy action. I am just cutting out any, you know, longer moments of tech issues that I needed to cut out in this, or I'm cutting out commercial breaks because in between the scenes when we're actually on stream, I would go to a be right back screen and turn on music so that way I could transition households or lots or whatever I needed to do to head to the next scene. However, in this lovely archive here, you don't need to sit through a full commercial break. We can just cut and head to the next scene. If you enjoy this content and you would like to see it live, we would love to see you over at Twitch. Sometimes I do Sims Let's Plays on Wednesdays, and then again our more scripted or reality series is on Fridays. We have lots of fun things going on over there. Just be sure to check my Twitch schedule or my Discord to see what's going on at the time on the channel. However, I hope you enjoy these archived ones as well. I try and archive the Friday series at least because those are the ones I put the most effort into and that we like really rally behind as a community. And so I want to make sure that these live on forever. Speaking of living on forever, let me talk about Sharpest Tool a little bit and a couple of specific things I want to say in the intro here for this one that are not my normal spiel of, hey, these are archive streams. So as I said, Sharpest Tool was the second attempt that I did at a scripted series. It came before Traitorous Season 2, so this originally aired at the beginning of 2021, starting like right at the beginning of January, I believe, in 2021, running until I think March. That's when we started Bachelor 2. I try and upload my Friday series chronologically on the channel, although this is not chronologically, so it's coming right after Traitorous Season 2 finale on the channel, so that's kind of going out the door. But this originally was before Traitorous Season 2, so it was my second attempt at doing something scripted on the channel, and it is also the first time that I fully scripted out each episode instead of just having an idea of what the scene was and somewhat improving the dialogue as we went along. This series is like completely scripted out, like fully written line for line dialogue as we head into it, except for maybe a couple of scenes in the first episode before I decided it really was better for me to have like the full dialogue in front of me to just read out instead of trying to wing it. This is a supernatural drama. I kind of call it like a CW-esque show. It feels very I was watching a lot of The Order at the time. It was not a CW show, but the vibes were very Riverdale, supernatural, that kind of shtick for this, as opposed to Traitorous being full soap opera. So the idea came from my mod Jenna said something to me on a stream way before I ever did Sharpest Tool. I had the idea percolating for a very long time that she would love to see if I could make vampires in The Sims interesting, because the vampires in The Sims, you know, they're more fleshed out than a lot of the occult, but I'm not really an occult player, and I know she isn't super either, and so she was saying that that I know that she loves my stories, and so she was wondering if I could make vampires interesting to her. And that idea really rooted itself into my brain, and so for months and months I was kind of thinking of this concept, and then finally had enough of it come together in a slot in my schedule where I decided, hey, let's actually do this, and let's do a vampire-based supernatural drama starting in 2021. I had an absolute blast doing this. I'm very attached to these characters in this story, and I have so many ideas for it still moving forward. I had like way future stuff planned out even when I was writing season 1. I think it got less exposure than my Traitorous series just because of when it aired, like in the year, it wasn't the summer, and also just in the lives of a lot of my community members, a lot of people were busy, so this one sort of went on a bit quieter in the background, but I have like a real passion for it and 11, so I hope you enjoy it as well, and maybe if you missed it the first time around on the channel, you will definitely enjoy it watching it on archive here. But my only other disclaimer for the series that I wanted to talk about at the beginning here kind of relates to the fact that I had this idea working in my head for a very long time, and I was actually also writing like the first episode script, like the first couple episode scripts a bit before I was actually really fully putting the show into production, just to make sure I got some of those preliminary ideas out on paper and I didn't forget them. I want to introduce our 3 leads for this show, which I wouldn't normally do here, but because there's only 3 and there's some special things I wanted to say, I figured I would tell you about them very, very briefly before we jump into the actual episode here. So in between Traitorous and Sharpest Tool, I had a slightly, it's like half scripted show that I did called What Did I Do Last Night that was roughly scripted, and then I had a story going on, but it was a choose your own adventure where the chat was deciding where we went. In the midst of doing What Did I Do Last Night, we kind of decided on the channel to really separate the lore of the Sims universe that exists on my Twitch channel between like real Sims and characters. So that's why I specifically separated between reality shows and scripted shows that we do on the channel. Reality shows are like The Bachelor, Love Island, Hunger Games, even though that's more morbid, it's a reality show, that counts under that category. And those are real Sims that really exist in the world, and the people you see on that show are the real Sims themselves. Our scripted shows like Traitorous, What Did I Do Last Night, and Sharpest Tool now are scripted shows, which means like in the real world, all of the characters that you see are scripted characters and they are played by actors. So I have names for the Sims that are not aligned with what their characters are in shows, and that also means we can use Sims to double up as roles in different shows, which we do in this series a little bit. So it's the first time I really wanted to be like, oh hey look, here's some familiar faces from shows that you've seen before playing new characters, some actresses that maybe got some, you know, clout from the other shows that they did on my channel, and now have an opportunity at a different role, and maybe, you know, a starring role as opposed to a supporting one. So the first character is Maya, who uses she, her pronouns. She is played by an actress that I've dubbed Lyra Dorman, who plays Cypress on Traitorous. If you've seen Traitorous, they are very different characters. Maya is much more meek than Cypress is, and she's also a starring role instead of kind of a more background support character like Cypress was on Traitorous. Next is Lynx, who also uses she, her pronouns, and that is played by Honora Woodrow, who played the best friend character in the Choose Your Own Adventure What Did I Do Last Night show. More similar characters this time, but again, a lead now instead of a supporting role. And our final lead is Birdie, who uses they, them pronouns, and this was played by a new actor being introduced named Lee Forrester for this series. This is the first series that this Sim has shown up in, and you know, wow, leading role for their first character. That's just some like fun little Easter egg like lore bits. There is another actress in Sharpest Tool that you will see that is not a main character later, but I'll let you pick her out if you can. She's a prominent supporting cast member. She's not like a background extra in one scene, but she's not one of our lead 3. Besides our little Easter eggs there, I wanted to introduce them because I wanted to clarify that yes, for our lead 3 characters, Maya and Lynx use she, her, and our other lead Birdie uses they, them pronouns. I just wanted to make that very clear before we head into it. So if you're discussing these characters, make sure you're using they, them pronouns for Birdie. And I also wanted to specify that I don't know that it even happens at all. I think it maybe happens once or twice in the first couple episodes, but I believe that I myself make the mistake of using she, her once or twice in the first couple episodes. I have not edited them yet, so I don't fully remember. But Birdie fully uses they, them pronouns. Because I was thinking of this show for so many months and even writing like the first couple episode scripts way in advance, my initial idea for this show was like 3 female leads. And so I had a lot of stuff written with like she, her pronouns for this character that wasn't even named Birdie. I don't even think I had a name for the character yet when I was writing this stuff down. But I like did my best when I was like changing stuff to like change it over to they, them, and to Birdie every time that it came up in the script. But because like my headset for almost over 6 months was 3 female leads, and then also some of my script bits I just, you know, missed exactly changing over to the right pronouns. I think I do fuck up a couple of times. There shouldn't be any mess ups like past the first couple of episodes. But it was like a really late stage decision to make Birdie non-binary, because I realized why it doesn't need to be 3 female leads, and there's not a ton of gender identity like representation on my channel. Like there was a little bit, we have a few trans characters in other shows, but I wanted to add in some more, and I thought, oh my god, why would I not have an NB lead? That's like, there's absolutely nothing tying gender to this 3rd lead character here, so let's do it. That's my preface of apologies for my couple of fuck-ups when it comes to misgendering Birdie on accident, and that's kind of the reason why is because in the beginning I was still like shifting. I was only like a week into thinking of Birdie as non-binary, and there's a couple script bits that just kind of got missed when I was trying to change everything over, and I had not fully fine-tooth combed through the entire thing to make sure that there were no instances where I did not change it. This is gonna be a long intro at this point, but I think that that is all that I have to ramble to you about. The setup is gonna be a lot different when you see it. This is an older series. Like I said, beginning of 2021, I moved in September of 2021. So this beautiful setting that you see here, you'll see on Twitch if you come join me live over there. However, in Sharpest Tool, it's gonna be my older background from when I still lived in my old house. With all of that out of the way, however, let's finally head back to that old setup as we jump into the first episode of Season 1 of Sharpest Tool. There's lots of drama and mystery ahead, so I hope you enjoy, and maybe I'll see you live on Twitch for Season 2 sometime soon. First episode, it's a pilot. It's going to be a little bit exposition heavy. We'll get into some more action in further episodes, I promise, but I hope that you're still entertained. I hope you still enjoy it, even if it's a little bit more talky and information-y between characters and stuff. We just got a lot to establish, so I will stop stalling now. Oh, and just roll with what I'm saying in the narrative. Sims can be wily, and I'm doing this live. I'm going to try and get them to do what I want, and I'm going to try and get them to do things that emulate what I'm narrating as close as possible, but I cannot promise that the Sims will A, do them, or B, they will look exactly like what I'm saying, but just take what's coming from my voice is what's canon, not whatever the hell the Sims decide to do off script, you know? So I think that's about it. I hope you're excited. I hope you enjoy, and yeah. All right, we start our story very, very early morning. The sun has not even risen yet. It's those wee early morning hours before the sun starts to really reach over the horizon, of course. And we are on the University of Solomon, Solomon University campus here. It's a pretty prestigious university that's like well known in these parts, and we just haven't there's not much activity at this time of night, but, some of the students, the more health-conscious ones, like to kind of take their early morning runs, of course. There's, it's a little bit of a mysterious school, I feel like, as most prestigious schools are. There's a lot of more uppity people, let's say, and rumors around them, but whether you pay attention to those or not, that is up to each student's volition. But here we have a student that's just taking a nice friendly little jog out in the morning, and she's going to stop and just kind of take her pulse, of course, training for that marathon. And things are usually a little spooky. There's a lot of woods that surround the perimeter of the campus. This used to be a lot more of a rural area before the school was built here. So the atmosphere can be a little bit spooky sometimes, but, she usually takes her morning run most mornings. It's not really that big of a deal for her, and there's a little bit of rustling in the woods over here along the perimeter. She's talking pretty close to it, and they're kind of catching her eye over there in the trees, but nothing too abnormal. It's the woods. There's plenty of animals roaming around and such. Most people are kind of warned to stay on the path if you're going to be out, especially at night, but, who knows how many people truly listen to that. And the rustling's really continuing and kind of growing louder, and even a little bit of low rumbles and growls you can kind of hear coming from the trees. And the student's going to kind of be a little curious and take a little bit of a closer step and get even closer and closer into the trees just to kind of figure out what's happening as the sun is truly starting to rise here. Light is coming into the town, and yeah, she's going to kind of enter into the woods, and the last we're going to hear for her is a bit of a scream and a following growl as the sun is, as the moon is the moon is going away and the sun is coming up on a bit of a foggy day, it looks like. And yeah, if we venture to the other side of campus, though, we have a house here a little bit more broken down, of course, but this used to be an old sorority house. There's the moon going down. But it's been repurposed into more residential student living, and currently 2 students are living here. One, Birdie, who is in the kitchen. In the kitchen grabbing some tea, it looks like. And let's go ahead and have them grab another cup of tea as well to put out at this place setting here, as they've set out a power bar for their roommate and best friend since middle school, Maya. Maya's not quite awake yet, and Birdie isn't necessarily usually awake at this time either, but they've gone ahead and brewed Maya's tea early in the morning for her, and they've also set out one of her power bars that she likes to eat in the morning in preparation for Maya to wake up, who is actually going to go ahead and come on down the stairs now before her class this morning. Let's have... Whoop! Here, we'll have this cup be the one that they set out for Maya. I'll have them go in the kitchen as they know the roommate's about to join them as well. There we go. There comes Maya. And Maya's kind of surprised to see Birdie this morning as well, because Birdie isn't usually the earliest of risers, and Maya's just going to kind of raise an eyebrow at them and be like, oh, I mean, wasn't expecting you to see you this early. What's this about? As she's kind of noticing her morning power bar sitting out and her cup of tea, and Birdie's gonna play nonchalant, like, what do you mean? I can't just wake up bright and early in the morning to make a lovely breakfast for my very best friend in the entire world. I can't just do a nice favor for you. Maya's still a little skeptical. I mean, I guess you can. It seemed like you had a pretty late night last night, though, so I just wasn't expecting it, but thank you. It's very nice of you. And, Birdie's just like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel energized. I feel organized this morning. Just kind of, it felt like something nice to do. And after a bit of a pause, and Maya still a little skeptical, but she'll dig into the lovely breakfast that her best friend set out for her. Birdie's gonna go ahead. If Birdie would fucking come into the kitchen. I feel like, so, Maya will join them in the living room. So, we're a couple weeks into the fall semester now. Finally juniors, very exciting. I know we both got a lot on our plates, but we've been getting by through the summer, of course, with me working 2 jobs since our sophomore year roommate returned back to Europe. But listen, I'm not going to be able to handle the shitty job at the Gap and organic chemistry at the same time, as well as trying to find a really solid internship for next semester. So I'm not going to be able to maintain both jobs through semester. I know, we were going to see if that would work and try that, but I just... now that it's been a little bit, I'm pretty certain that plan's not going to work out. And listen, I know you don't want another roommate again. I know you're more comfortable just being able to be around me. And I was willing to try, but it's just not going to be able to work out during this semester, okay? And Maya's going to be a little more nervous at this. Hello, sit down, please. Yeah, Maya's gonna start looking a little bit more, more nervous at that, being like, oh, okay. And Birdie's just gonna kind of continue before she can sort of get in her head too much and be like, and listen, I know I brought up a couple of different people to you already, like as the possibility, like some people that I thought you might like, just to see if you would be okay with them taking the empty room now, but you made it clear that you were not happy with pretty much any of them that I proposed to you. And Maya's gonna be a little bit more indignant now, just like, no, I just didn't. Listen, I didn't think that they were worthy enough. None of them seemed worthy enough to be our roommate. And Birdie's kind of used to this response from Maya, but is gonna forge ahead, like, okay. Unfortunately, the rent doesn't pause just because you're being stubborn, and I know you're gonna be mad, but I also know you very well. Ever since I met you when we were like 12 years old, you have despised change, and I know for certain that it doesn't matter what roommate that I'm going to give you the application of. It doesn't matter who I present to you. You're not going to think they're worthy enough because you don't want anyone else to live here. And I get it. I understand, but we're getting to the point where we need someone to be living with us, Maya. We need someone else to help cover the bills, okay? And so, even though you will be upset, I've had to just kind of take things into my own hands so that we are not kicked out of our home. And listen, I met this girl after hot yoga, and she's just was recently kicked out of her place, and she's looking for a place, and she seems to have the money that can cover it, and so I offered her the room, okay? I offered her the spare room, and because I knew that you were going to protest, she's moving in this morning. And that's gonna finally, like, get Maya to, like, kind of snap out of the trance she's sort of gotten into as, she is staring down at her power bar here, like, Birdie, what? She's moving in today? Before I can even meet her? And Birdie's just like, listen, I gotta rip it off quick like a band-aid, okay? I knew that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you meet her. You were going to say no, but this has to happen, and this is happening, and you can get used to it, and you can be mad at me, but we're not going to be kicked out of our house now, okay? I know you, and I know you'll get over it in just a little bit. And Maya's still just going to complain, like, okay, but, like, you can't even tell me that she's moving in. You couldn't even just, like, say that. And as you can kind of hear the car pulling up outside for a little bit here. As, give me just a moment and let me reset a couple of these sims so that we will actually start to do something. But Birdie's gonna be like, I think she's here, okay? No, I knew that it was probably just going to work out best if I just sprung this on you, even though I know that you hate that. I'm very sorry, but will you please come outside? Just give her a chance, okay? Just please give it a chance, introduce yourself, and come help me bring in her bags. Don't be rude. And so Birdie is going to go ahead and head outside as Maya's just kind of taking a look through the window and can see this nice, sleek, black convertible outside, and a girl with long black hair and another kind of edgy dude with lots of piercings and tattoos are pulling up, and Maya's already not necessarily loving the look of them, doesn't necessarily seem like people that she would necessarily get along with, and she is definitely, her friend is correct, she is definitely upset and a little bit frustrated and anxious, all of those feelings, but she will join Birdie outside. Come on, Sims, let's head outside. See, Maya will center herself and go ahead and follow Birdie on out as this guy is pulling some more bags out of his trunk here. Birdie's gonna just kind of like, you know, Maya, by the time Maya's made it outside, Birdie's already like waving like a nice hello to both of them and be like, oh, how are you guys, hey, and like giving this other girl a hug right away, and going to grab some bags and take them inside, as Maya's just kind of standing here a little reluctant to go ahead and oh, hold on. Do 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 do. Boop 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 boop. Disable worlds need to get. I realized that the lovely man over here was a little stinky, and I forgot to stop their needs before we got into the episode tonight. But as Birdie's heading on inside with a bag, Lynx is gonna finally turn around and kind of look at Maya and sort of give her the like up and down like kind of judgy look, you know, and already Maya's on edge, of course, as Birdie's walking past with the box and being like, all right, Maya, this is Lynx. Lynx, this is my roommate, Maya. Get yourselves acquainted, as I lug your very heavy luggage inside. And Lynx is sort of giving Maya a pretty intense stare, you know, before she finally speaks and says, do I know you from somewhere? And Maya's like, I seriously doubt that. And Lynx is going to stare at her a little longer before being like, yeah, no, I do. You were in that big psych, like, lecture hall class that I had last semester. You're that girl who had that really long, boring presentation about cognitive dissonance that ended with you tripping over the mic cord and flashing the entire lecture hall your granny panties. And Maya's cheeks are going to flush pretty immediately at that and just be like, all right, wonderful, glad to confirm that moment isn't only etched in my brain. Great. And Lynx is just gonna kind of continue to giggle at her like, yeah, no, I entertained my friends with that tale for at least a month after that. Glad to finally put a name to my favorite anecdote, I guess. Still, like, trying to clearly, like, hold back a bit of a giggle, as Maya's definitely a bit affronted at this point, just like, do you need anything else you need to carry, then? And Lynx is gonna be like, I mean, listen, you can grab some boxes by the car if you don't think you'll trip over yourself making it inside. Sounding a little too satisfied with herself for Maya's liking, as Maya just kind of is gonna huff and go grab one of the boxes, sort of wanting to prove to her that she definitely can make it inside here. Oop, as I'm gonna let Birdie go ahead and head all the way into the back room that is in the front hall here, as Maya, come here. Okay, I'm gonna have her head on inside with Birdie too. Lynx just kind of like giving her the like up and down again as she's walking past, like intensely watching her make it all the way up the stairs. And so Birdie's gonna be in here. Listen, like, Birdie and I have kind of been making it back and forth a bit. A couple things are already in here, and Maya's gonna kind of huffily set down the box, and Birdie's like, hey, all right, so what did you think of her? Let me guess, you hate her. And Maya's gonna be like, oh, Birdie, are you kidding me? She's a menace. Birdie's just gonna kind of roll their eyes and be like, all right. You literally just met her, okay? Let me get them into a conversation. Here, the Sims will do that. Okay, deep conversation. This feels like a deep conversation. Birdie just kind of like laughing at their friend's strong word choice right off the bat, and being like, okay, and so have you, Birdie. You don't know that she's not. Birdie's gonna be like, okay, so she wears black lipstick and maybe has a bit of a dry sense of humor. It doesn't mean that there's human teeth in any of these boxes, okay? And as Maya kind of noticed the tattooed man and Lynx getting a little bit touchy as she was heading inside, just be like, she's making out with the Hulk that's outside of our house as we speak. And Birdie's gonna be like, hey, listen, I did a lot more than make out with a man twice as big inside of this house last night, all right? Just remember to stay open-minded, okay? Uh, and Birdie's gonna like give her a little kiss on the cheek and like head on out to continue to grab some bags along with them. And Maya's gonna kind of hold her ground and huff at herself a little bit as a friend heads back on outside and just being like, all right, well, we'll see how open-minded you are when I turn out to be right about her. Kind of muttering under her breath as Maya finally decides to make her way outside as well and help continue to move in Lynx. We make our way over to the other side of campus now, at the administrative building where most of the higher faculty's offices are, and making our way in. Let's unmute the Sims. Making our way inside, we gonna head on down the hall to the president of the university's room over here, his office, and we have one of the other students standing outside of it, just kind of taking some deep breaths, stealing his nerves a little before finally grabbing the door handle and heading on inside the president's office. Where has a fire started on the lot? Excuse me? Alright, so this lovely student is going to finally steal himself and go ahead and step into the president of the school's office over here after taking a beat to kind of center himself and go ahead and address him. I'll have him sit down and get into a conversation here. With the head of the school, Dimitri Solomon, who is on a long line of Solomons that have run the school, named after them, of course, Solomon University. Do a little courteous handshake, I guess, as we enter for the day. Why don't you take your nice presidential seat in your chair? There we go. But this man here will go ahead and address him as sir, and he's gonna kind of snip back at the student like, yeah, what is it? And he's gonna forge like, I have news to report. The headmaster is gonna reply, kind of the bit of a skeptical eye, yeah, like, what kind of news? And this man is gonna stutter through it a little bit, but say, we found another one on patrol this morning. Early this morning. Another one? Yeah, yes, another body, sir, just outside the perimeter. And the headmaster's gonna kind of snap at him again, like, I know what you're talking about, a fucking body. Thank you. Did you see who the perpetrator was? And he'll reply, no, unfortunately not, sir. There was no sign of them by the time we got there, but the body was still warm, so we couldn't have been too late. And the headmaster's gonna reply, shame. As the student's like, yeah, yes, it is, sir. As the headmaster clarifies, let's just get them into an argument here. The headmaster's gonna clarify, though, you're certain they didn't drop dead of a natural cause? And the student's like, yes, sir, we checked for all the normal signs, of course. 2 puncture marks right at the base of the victim's neck. We wouldn't be coming to you if we weren't sure. And he's gonna say, well, you're too stupid to try and track down who did it first, so I was just making sure. And after a bit of a pause, as the headmaster's already kind of trying to get back to his work, but the student's gonna strike up conversation again and just say, that's the second one this month, sir. They're getting more frequent. And Dimitri's gonna reply, yeah, because they're learning that they can. Seems we need to pick up the pace on our little side project, don't you agree, Caesar? And the student named Caesar is just gonna kind of sigh and say, yes, sir. Seems that we should. We rejoin our characters the next morning, so Lynx has has moved in, has gotten a little bit more situated in the house, and it is bright and early the next morning. Technically, Lynx's first morning, actually, waking up in this home, and she's the first one awake as far as she can tell, and just kind of looking around. Can she like view something? I don't know. Here, we'll have her view this. Pretend she's looking through the cupboards and stuff. All right. But just kind of looking for something to eat in the morning, of course. And just kind of like searching around the kitchen and in the fridge. Of course, she's going to see a huge stash of Maya's beloved protein bars in here. And that seems good enough for her. So she's going to go ahead and just grab one of those and eat one of those. None the wiser, of course, as seems Maya is also awake around the same time, coming on down the stairs in her pajamas still as well, and stopping right away as she sees the new roommate here eating one of her morning protein bars, as Lynx just kind of throws a head nod her way, like, morning, clumsy. And Maya's just going to brush right past that, like, are you eating one of my protein bars? And Lynx is going to be like, yeah, I didn't see your name on it, but it was the last one in the box, so yep. And hello? Sure. And Maya's gonna be like, yeah, all right, well, up until now, my roommates have been respectful enough to leave my food alone without me having to label all of it, but I guess now that will be changing, as Maya's gonna go over to at least brew herself some tea in the morning, just already starting off a bit irritated, and Lynx is just gonna roll her eyes like, relax, nerd, I didn't know they were strictly yours, alright, don't get those granny panties in a twist. And she just kind of goes and throws the wrapper away, just downing most of it really quickly. And, Maya just sort of frowning as her morning is definitely not starting the way she was planning, but just deciding to move forward. Oh, Maya, why don't you come drink your tea in the kitchen? As Maya's going to go ahead and ask Lynx, like, so, is your boyfriend gonna be coming around here a lot then? Or... And Lynx is just gonna kind of chuckle again and lean on the counter in front of her like, who? And Maya's gonna start to stammer a little bit and be like, the muscly man that helped you unload all of your stuff yesterday. And Lynx is just gonna actually laugh this time and be like, oh, Axel? No, Axel's not my boyfriend. And Maya, a bit more awkward now, is like, but I thought you two were, Lynx, kissing? Yeah, that doesn't mean we're dating. And, she's just gonna kind of give that sort of judgy, like, once over. Maya gonna be like, I mean, he's a fun friend, but not a boyfriend. I guess you should call it a mutually beneficial arrangement. He can throw around more than just bags. And like kind of finishing with a wink, making Maya like immediately like her cheeks flush again, as Lynx is learning Maya tends to blush pretty easily. And Maya's gonna be like, right, fine, not your boyfriend then, but my question still stands. As Lynx just kind of smirks at her, Maya continues to, will he be around often then? Annoyed as she's just kind of focusing on her tea at this point. And Lynx's like, time to time probably, but don't worry, I'll make him gag me so we don't interrupt your precious beauty sleep, klutz. And thankfully at that point, before Maya can continue this frustrating conversation any further, Birdie's gonna go ahead and burst through the front door because they've been out on their on a nice morning jog anyways, not actually asleep as the other two may have assumed. And we'll get rid of all these sick moodlets. And yep, Birdie's gonna burst in bright and energetic as usual and be like, oh, look at you two, already awake. I finished a cool 3 miles this morning. Ha, take that, asthma. Trust you ladies are getting along, having a good morning together then. And Lynx is just gonna be like, yeah, already feels like a sisterhood here. And Birdie kind of knows that's a joke, of course. They know how Maya can be with new people, but they'd be like, and Maya's gonna respond as well, like, bonding is going great. And then switch conversation topics to be like, we need to swing by the store and grab more power bars along with a couple of other things that we're low on today, though. And Birdie will just be like, cool, my pie. Lynx, what is your schedule for the day? Would you like to be introduced to the wonders of our local grocery store that is within walking distance of campus? As Maya's kind of glaring daggers at Birdie over offering an invitation for Lynx to come along with them. But Birdie's just kind of brushing her off, of course. And Maya's going to push them and be like, I mean, we could just get them by ourselves like usual. Bird, it's just groceries. And Birdie's gonna be like, yeah, but unlike usual, we have a new roommate here, and so we should start to include our new housemate in household activities, and introduce her to the area a little bit more. Don't you think? Maya's just not even gonna respond to that, and Lynx is just kind of watching the back and forth, but like, yeah, I mean, my last classes, I got a course at 11, but then I'm pretty free. I'll just be wandering campus looking for babies to eat and puppies to kick. As Birdie kind of laughs at Lynx's quip, but Maya still seems pretty unimpressed by all of this. And I'll just be like, awesome, yeah, all right. I'm pretty free this afternoon as well. And Birdie's like, cool, I'm done at the lab at 3, so why don't we meet near the center campus at 3:30 and then head out from there? And Maya will finish her tea and be like, yep, sure, sounds good, and go ahead and head on upstairs to get ready for the day, abruptly leaving the conversation a bit here. As Lynx sort of turns her attention to Birdie more squarely, like, I mean, okay, I know you said your roommate wouldn't be happy about me showing up, but she didn't tell me that she had a humongous stick up her ass. And Birdie's just gonna kind of sigh as they watch Maya walk up the stairs. Like, listen, I promise she can be fun. She's just bad with change and rarely comfortable around anyone but me. But she's just on edge right now. I can't say you'll ever end up best of friends, but she'll chill out in a couple weeks, I promise. Just go easy on her. You haven't necessarily been making this the easiest of transitions, let's be fair. But once she spends a little more time around you, I'm sure she'll realize that you're not public enemy number 1, okay? And Lynx is just gonna kind of give like a bit of a flirty smile, like, oh, are you sure I'm not, though? And Birdie's like, we all have our faults. Okay, I'm off to get ready as well, but I'll see you at 3:30, Satan. And Lynx is just gonna kind of laugh and be like, yes, I'll see you then. It is near 3:30, and as everyone was going to meet at the center of campus to head out and walk to the local grocery store here, Maya and Birdie are here at the fountain. Birdie is just kind of playing some games on their phone as Maya's kind of looking a little impatient, leaning against the fountain here before she's like, it's 3:33, checking her watch. And Birdie just rolls her eyes like, okay, guess we should call the cops and file missing persons report, I guess. I'll get them back on their phone here. Play game. Maya's still looking pretty a little bit huffy still, as Birdie's like, seriously, relax, bro. She'll probably be here any minute, okay? The store doesn't close until 7. And Maya's like, no, I know, it's just the principle of things. And Birdie's like, or you don't want a roommate, so you're looking for an excuse to hate her. Maya's like, oh my god, Birdie, that is so not it. Her cheeks starting to flush again, as usual. Like, listen, she's just been incredibly disrespectful to me and my space every second she's been in our house so far, and I have no reason to like her. Birdie's like, alright, I'll agree. It doesn't seem like you guys mesh all that well so far, and she's definitely gotten off on the wrong foot from the start. that is on her, absolutely. But will you give her a chance, please, for me? She's a bit edgy, but she's going to be an asset to our financial stability around here. Oh, hello? No, Sims. Don't do that. And Maya's gonna be like, where does she get her money from anyways? Birdie's like, I don't know, I didn't ask, I just saw the check stub. Just kind of going back to their phone, moving on to the next level, you know, as Maya's like, what, she's like a bounty hunter or something. And Birdie's like, as long as the rent is there, I don't really care. And just then, of course, Lynx is not blowing him off. Just a little bit past 3:30, he's gonna stroll on up. Let's pretend that Lynx has a carton of coffee drinks in her hands here. She's like, hey, sorry I was a little late. I was a vendor giving out free coffee samples, and I used my incredible charm and fantastic rack to get them to give me one for each of us. As Lynx kind of gives a little peace offering, a little coffee to each of them, and Maya just kind of stares at it, being like, I prefer tea. And Lynx is like, kind of giving a look at Birdie like, oh my god. Alright, well then it's your unlucky day. Just take the cup, nerd. As Maya just kind of begrudgingly grabs her coffee drink, at least. And Birdie's like, alright, onward then, noble maidens. As they kind of take both of the girls, kind of staying in between them, arm in arm. Since clearly we're continuing to riff a little, getting to a bit of a tiff again here. All the Sims are horny today. Please ignore them. But they're gonna go ahead and continue. Hello? This party's being called into a ping pong match, but no, they need to go ahead to get groceries with their roommates. So they're gonna continue to head across campus in the direction of the store, though, here. Just kind of generally chatting, Birdie kind of trying to lead the conversation towards some slightly, you know, safe, just kind of neutral topics that they can kind of talk about. Lynx and Maya being a bit more quiet, of course, before Lynx kind of at least gets onto one of her sordid details from her past a little bit, and is a bit caught up in the story that she's telling, even though Maya's not completely listening to her. But as they're walking and talking here, Lynx is just about to kind of continue on forward as the other two start to sort of veer a little bit more to the left here. As if Sims could stop asking them to get into ping pong matches, I would really love that. And as Lynx is about to take one more step forward, Maya's going to grab Lynx's arm and kind of like yank her back, as Maya's like, what are you doing? And Maya's like, what are you doing? And then Lynx is just going to kind of like look at her pretty confused, as Lynx is just like, I'm walking? What the fuck are you doing? And Maya's gonna point out to her that, we'll get into an argument here, like, Lynx, you were just about to walk over the school sigil, but luckily, I caught you before you did. And Lynx is just still not quite understanding, as Birdie's already anticipating this to get a little bit more heated here. And Lynx is like, so? As she kind of glares down at Maya's hand still on her arm and gently removes it, as Maya continues, don't you remember from orientation? At orientation, they told us that no student's supposed to cross over the school sigil. All those who do end up getting cursed and doomed to fail the semester. And Lynx is just going to stare for a little bit longer before laughing, frustrating Maya, making her blush again, of course. As Maya's like, Lynx, seriously, freshman year, there was a kid who did it on accident, and the semester went so badly for him that he had to drop out, and he was never heard from again. And Lynx is just like, oh, okay, he absolutely just partied too hard and flunked everything, and then used that as an excuse. Come on, Maya, you can't possibly believe there's some campus curse that's going to infect you for taking a step onto the center point of campus. That is ridiculous. And Maya's just gonna look a little disgruntled and kind of stare at the ground before starting to, like, move away around the sigil again, the direction she was going. Just be like, you should still leave it alone just in case. I'm only trying to look out for you. And, of course, as Maya's starting to step pretty pointedly around the sigil, Lynx is gonna step pretty pointedly directly onto it. Hello. As Maya's eyes kind of widen, seeing what she's doing as she, like, tries to yell and reach out to grab Lynx back again. But this time, instead, Lynx grabs back onto her arm and just pulls Maya onto the sigil with her. And the two get into yet another heated argument as they're standing right on the center of it here. Get them into the argument. Maya pretty furious at this new roommate here for directly going against literally what she was just explaining to her. Like, Lynx, what is wrong with you? I specifically told you this was a bad idea and you directly went against my boundaries. I can't believe you. And Lynx is like, oh, what, can you feel the ghosts of bad grades entering your body already? Just continuing to laugh, like, as Maya's just face is kind of oscillating between fear and anger, continuing to argue with Lynx here, as Lynx is just like, oh my god, it is not that serious, dweeb. I'm just proving to you that the silly little urban legend that you live your life by means absolutely nothing. And it's very quickly devolving just into a very heated argument as Birdie's had enough of it and she's just gonna step in between them and stop this. Be like, all right, enough. Maya, that was absolutely some stupid lie that the orientation leaders told the freshmen at orientation to get them, to just scare them, okay? As Maya's just looking, like, a little bit hurt and upset that it seems like her friend is taking Lynx's side here, but Birdie's just gonna, like, turn their attention back to Lynx, though, and be like, and Lynx? Regardless, they also told us that it is, like, some symbol that represents the founders of the school that have since passed, and it is still disrespectful to tread across their name or whatever, so out of respect for the dead, let's just, in the future, avoid walking onto the sigil. Alright, kind of looking back and forth between them, being like, and regardless, let's just try and keep things calm and respect everyone's boundaries moving forward. Alright, are we good? Can we please just go get food now? As Lynx and Maya are just kind of both shut up, a little bit disgruntled, but, like, you know, knowing they're not going to get anywhere with Birdie still there as the sun's starting to set, and they're both just going to kind of nod and be like, yeah, alright, whatever, you know, give general, casual, affirming sounds as Birdie just kind of rolls their eyes and is like, alright, let's get going then, before you toddlers need to go down for a nap, as they both cross past the other side of the sigil and head on out to go get their groceries. As we catch back up with Caesar here, a bit later on here, walking down the stairs into this mysterious area, and a woman is there to greet him at the bottom of the stairs, and he greets her with an eye roll, asking, do you need something? And she's just gonna kind of eagerly be like, well, what did he say? And Caesar nonchalantly replies, the usual. And she just kind of rolls her eyes back, like, no, dingus, about my idea. You did tell him my idea, right? And then he sighs. No, Clementine, I didn't. And she's like, what the hell? You said that you would. Caesar replies, yeah, well, I say a lot of things, as he starts to continue down this hallway here. As she kind of trails behind him, still trying to continue the conversation. Well, did you point out that the kills are getting more frequent, at least? And he says, yes, Clem, and he all but called me stupid, alright? Of course he knows that, dumbass, and treating him like an imbecile back isn't going to do anything. And she just kind of presses on, like, well, if he's aware of the risk, then we need to do something about it. And I can't exactly barge into the headmaster's office and lay it out for him. You're the only one that he listens to. And Caesar gets a little defensive at that. Like, no, you only think that he listens to me because he lets me in the room. He doesn't listen to anyone but himself. Look, I am barely holding on to a shred of respect with him. And bringing up the contrived schemes of my younger sister isn't going to do it any favors, all right? And she kind of indignantly just mutters, like, I'm only younger by 10 minutes, but you know my plan is good. And he just kind of, like, lets that hang there for a minute before completely moving on and being like, did you gather those that I asked you to? And frustrated that her brother is just sort of pushing past that, Clementine just kind of lets that sit there again before being like, yes, sir, I did. Then he's like, all right, then come on. And he goes ahead and enters the room that they were just stopped in front of, but Clementine takes a little bit of a minute as she's clearly upset, and she just kind of takes a second to calm herself down as you can kind of see the anger like growing on her face, and even her eyes start to glow a little bit as she's getting more and more upset before she takes a really deep breath and tries to calm herself down before entering the room as well, as she enters the main council room here behind her brother and just goes ahead and takes a seat over here as Caesar takes the head of the table and addresses the group in front of him, saying that, all right, gang, thank you for joining us. The headmaster has some information he wants me to pass along, and you lot have been honored with the responsibility of being the recipients. So we are joining our crew yet again early in the morning the next day. Their grocery trip kind of, was fine. It was pretty uneventful. Lynx and Maya being pretty quiet most of the time after being a little chastised by the roommate. Birdie just trying to keep the mood light still with some puns and casual conversation in the grocery store, but they got plenty more of Maya's breakfast bars, of course, and lots of their own groceries and such, and the rest of the night they just kind of did their own thing, you know. But it is morning yet again, and Lynx finds herself the first one in the morning. Pretty similar scene to the last one, but to the last morning. And this time, instead of a little bit... Oh, I don't... Let's pretend she's going to grab a power bar from the fridge. I don't know where they all went. But this time a little bit more pointedly, not just aimlessly wandering around the kitchen. Lynx is going to go straight for Maya's stash of power bars that she did just buy, noticing that there now is a label on the brand new box that was bought yesterday that says in bright, bold letters, Maya, as Lynx just kind of laughs at that, like, oh my god, she didn't really. But, kind of almost wanting to get a little bit of a rise out of Maya at this point. She's gonna go ahead and take one of the breakfast bars yet again, as yet again Maya is also coming on down the stairs and sees it this morning as Lynx just gives her a nice big smile, taking a bite right into it. As Maya's just like, really? And Lynx is like, morning, dweeb. Should have guessed you already had a label maker on hand. As she just takes another big bite. But her face is starting to kind of twist up a little bit this time as she starts to ingest a bit more. And Maya's like, of course I have a label maker. Just continuing to watch Lynx's face like start to twist up more and more as she's eating this power bar here. I can't actually get it. Hold on, let me see if Maya has any in her inventory. No, she doesn't. Okay. Damn, whatever. Pantomime, we'll pretend. But Lynx is gonna keep eating as Maya's just kind of staring at her, getting like paler and paler in the face until Lynx just ends up having to like run over to the trash can here and just like throws up right into the trash can. Maya seeming like a little bit pleased at this series of events actually, as Lynx still looks a bit ill as she comes back up from the trash and walks over to Maya like, what the fuck, did you poison them so I wouldn't touch them or something, you freak? And Maya's just like, Nope, Birdie's the scientist in this house. I haven't even opened the box yet, as you must have realized, since you would have had to open it yourself to get into it. Maybe karma's just striking early in the form of a stomach bug. Maya just kind of replies smugly, kind of feeling like she's maybe got one up, or at least nature's gotten one up on Lynx finally. Lynx still looking a little bit sick and miserable here. Just kind of pushing past Maya's comments there, like, well, you must have bought a faulty batch or something then. Kind of just trying to regain her composure here as she takes in Maya's outfit instead of being in her pajamas as well. Like, what, are you not gonna prove me right and grab one yourself this morning? As Maya starts to kind of head towards the coat rack over there, like, no, I need to be heading out pretty soon this morning, actually, since my boss isn't feeling that good today, so I need to go pick up some papers from his house to bring to the office for him. But I'm not really feeling that hungry this morning anyways. I'll just grab something later. Kind of realizing that she's rambling and that Lynx's attention sort of already drifted, and Lynx just kind of looking around the kitchen, maybe seeing if anything else strikes her fancy, but everything's still sounding pretty nasty to her after just throwing up. So she's like, all right, just, well, have fun being a kiss ass and maybe buy a different batch of your beloved power bars for tomorrow. And Maya's just gonna be like, I'm still just gonna choose to believe that the universe is simply working in my favor, as she goes ahead and heads on out the door to start her day. You're catching back up in the science lab here as Birdie is in their early morning class. Well, the other two girls were having their other little disagreement yet again in the morning. Birdie is in the science lab, of course, where they usually are, in their favorite spot by the window where they can kind of watch the sunlight peek over the horizon, since this is a pretty early morning class, and they like the kind of like bright energy that comes from the sun rays, sitting over in the corner by the big bay windows. And as they're sitting here, I'll get them to look at their phone really quick. Just still kind of waiting on the professor to show up, but a little text has come through from Maya. Just saying, hey, would you mind picking up a couple of new power bar boxes on your way home from work tonight? The ones we got seem to be spoiled. I'll pay you back. And Birdie, of course, is just gonna... Ooh. Birdie, of course, is like, yep, sure thing, boo thing. Just like, that doesn't bother them at all. They know Maya's kind of got a busy day today. But... since they're gonna be heading on to the grocery store anyways, a little bit of an idea strikes them, since their lovely roommates have been having a bit of trouble getting to know each other and become closer, of course. So Birdie goes ahead and starts a group text between Lynx and Maya, and just kind of shoots off a quick little message to them, like, hey, 60 Lays, this is probably helpful to have now that we live together anyway, but a proposition, I am swinging by the market to grab new power bars for Maybear anyways. Why don't I pick up something nice for dinner, and then we can have a little family meal together and celebrate Lynx being fully moved in. Yeah. And a couple of not super enthusiastic responses from either of the girls, but Lynx just says a quick, sounds good, as Maya just sort of shortly says, sure. And that's about exactly what Birdie was expecting, and they can kind of tell that Maya's annoyed at the idea, even through text. But they're hoping that maybe, like, forcing them to actually sit down and have, like, a conversation and get to know each other a little more. Ignore that. Maybe they can find some common ground with each other. And as Birdie's just kind of grasping at straws here to try and get them to get along, since it has not really been going good so far. But as they're kind of sitting here, they're not feeling super great either. The sun's not feeling super good this morning, but, Murdy did, like, skip breakfast since they woke up a little bit late. Didn't quite hear that alarm, so they sort of rushed on over to the science lab today. And so their favorite super sunny spot is, they're thinking that they got a bit of headache from not really having much nutrients in their body and such, and the bright sunshine is not really energizing them today. It's more just kind of making their head and stomach ache a little bit worse. So, before the class gets too full, since the professor's running late like usual, and a lot of students are. They're pretty much usually one of the only people that tend to enjoy organic chemistry, and so they're going to go ahead and move over to the furthest table from the windows, though, and try and shield from the sun a little bit, double checking with the guy that's already sitting at this lab table, like, oh, hey, do you mind if I sit here for today? And the guy's like, oh, no, just kind of lost in whatever he's doing on his own phone, you know. I'll get him on his phone here. And, Birdie, being a pretty charismatic and chatty person anyways, just wanting to, like, actually introduce themselves. Birdie's gonna introduce themselves to the student that they're sitting next to here, and say, like, oh, yeah, hey, I'm Birdie, you should sit over there, but, skip breakfast this morning, so not feeling super great in the sun over there, just a little much today, you know how it goes. And he's like, oh, yeah, seems kind of surprised at another student being a little bit chatty with him. It's not something that he's necessarily the most used to. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm Lynn. I'm usually up front here. I usually get a lab partner for the class, but it's not like there's someone that I'm waiting on, so you're fine to be mine for today. And Birdie's kind of noticing whatever he was looking at on his phone there. It's like, what are you reading? And he's like, oh, I was just catching up on the school newspaper. It seems like there was another student that went missing the other night. And Birdie's face is going to kind of drop at that too, listening to him like, oh god, another one? Yeah, I hadn't heard about that. Wait, didn't, like, someone already go missing the first week of the semester? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. They never seem to really, like, follow up on that. But, yeah, I think I remember hearing about that as well. It's kind of crazy that, like, another one has gone missing as well. And Birdie's like, yeah, I mean, 2 in the span of a couple weeks is definitely a bit strange. I mean, I guess I hope they find this girl and figure out maybe what's going on. Guess gotta be careful out there, huh? And he's like, yeah, it's pretty nerve-wracking for sure. Just kind of getting a little more awkward as it seems like the professor is on their way in anyways, and so Birdie feeling a little bit better now that they're more in the shade, as that seems to definitely have been the case that was making them feel pretty bad. It's just going to kind of square themselves up and get prepared for class. Yes, as we saw, even though despite Maya kind of maintaining that it's just the universe taking its course with Lynx's upset stomach there, just in case, has asked Birdie to go get some more power bars for her, since just in case that batch is bad, she likes to have a little bit of that insurance there. And so we're picking up with Maya as she was just receiving Birdie's text about having a little bit of a family dinner together, and sending off her somewhat disgruntled Shore off to her friend. But she has made it to her boss's house here, where she's going to pick up a few papers, and she's just go with my narration on some things. I was going to set up some other stuff, but since Sims was being bitchy anyways, I decided not to take the time to, but we'll just roll with it again. But Maya's never really been to her boss's house before. He texted her the address, and she wants to not do anything to upset him. Of course, she wants to, continue to be a model employee, and so she's, like, plenty happy making a stop before she goes and does her short shift, where she's at the law firm that she's a receptionist at. And so she's gonna go ahead and knock on her boss's door, and his his cheery booming voice is gonna kind of just ring out from inside, although a little bit raspier than she's used to. Clearly he is pretty sick. Just yelled down to her that door's unlocked, Maya. And so she's gonna go ahead and open the door and at least try to go in the house here, but even though it is true that she was able to get the door open, it does seem to be unlocked. It's weird. It's like she just can't, like, really step over the threshold. Like, she's really, like, trying. She doesn't really know what's happening. She kind of feels like she's going crazy, but she's like, okay. And, like, tries to walk in again. It almost feels like she's running against an invisible wall, like in one of Birdie's video games that they like to play. And just trying again. It's just like she can't bring herself to walk in. Maybe it's just the anxiety of like going into her boss's house for the first time, but like that seems kind of weird to her, but she just like can't really bring herself to do it for whatever reason. She doesn't really want to seem that sounds kind of nuts though, so she doesn't want to come across like that to her boss. So she's gonna try and quietly close the door again really quick and just be like, no it isn't. As her boss kind of she can hear his booming footsteps kind of coming down the door. Pretend he's coming through the door here. As he goes ahead and opens the door for her and is like, you know, oh, it was like you silly thing. Just need to pull a little hard. It's a little bit difficult sometimes, but come on in. The papers are like right here. So he's gonna head inside. Pretend that they're heading inside the home. As Maya is, it kind of, seems a little apprehensive at first, a little worried about making a fool of herself and having the same thing happen in front of her boss, but this time it seems like she's able to just, like, step on in, and so even though it doesn't make a lot of sense to her, she's just gonna go ahead and, chalk it on up to her nerves, but put that aside for now, and go ahead and just go grab that paper. And, so then a little bit further across campus, though, Lynx is hanging out with, some of her, seedy friends who are coughing up a storm, apparently. But Lynx is just kind of hanging out, having smoke with some of her friends over here, kind of just complaining about the current situation that she's found herself in as far as living. Just sort of complaining about how, ugh, and then she, like, actually literally labeled her food this morning. Like, who, like, genuinely puts their name on their food? Like, is she okay? Just kind of complaining about Maya and stuff, as her friends are just kind of amused, as they're used to Lynx kind of being rubbed the wrong way by most people anyways, but oh, let's go into tab mode so the camera starts freaking out. This is another one where just go with my narration. I didn't have time to buy props. Thank you for the follow, hey losers! Welcome to the show, hope you're enjoying. But just kind of like talking along with her friends here. You know, they're kind of hanging out near the stadium. I was gonna say Coliseum, and I'm like, that's not what sports places are called in modern times. They're kind of hanging out inside of campus near stadium, so a lot of the jocks tend to kind of hang out in this area of campus and sit around on the quad, you know, shooting the shit. And there's a couple of the jocks over there sort of dribbling a soccer ball back and forth between them until one of them kind of loses a bit of control of the ball and just super hardcore kicks it towards their direction. And Lynx notices it almost going towards her friend Yoselin's face over here. And without even thinking about it, Lynx just kind of like reaches out with like incredible reflexes and speed and like grabs the soccer ball right out of midair from Yoselin's face, just kind of impressing her friends and seeming a little bit taken aback herself, as her friend's like, damn, Lynx, you're usually so like lethargic towards things. I didn't know you had reflexes like that. And Lynx is just kind of like, yeah, you're right. Glad you're okay. I guess it's just my lucky day. And so she's just gonna, you know, throw the ball back to the jocks, kind of flipping them off, even a little startled by what she just accomplished herself. But listen, after the unluck of the spoiled power bar is making her throw up this morning, maybe things are just deciding to turn around for her. Sims continues to be fantastic, and it didn't save the lot I put down, which was an actual market grocery store kind of place. So we're just gonna pretend that one of the other stores in Sims that comes with Get to Work is a grocery store. I think this is a clothing store technically, but or maybe a toy store. Pretend there's grocery items around, okay? But Birdie, it's a bit later in the day now. Of course, the day's just kind of been going on. Everyone's been going about their activities for the day, and Birdie is swinging on by now that they're done with their shift at work. The market, of course, did pick up some power bars like they told Maya that they would. So we'll have them head on inside the store here. And, Yeah, usually they would like take a nice stroll over, but they still didn't like, their stomach was still not feeling great during lunchtime, so they still never ended up eating much during the day. And the sun was just really still making them feel a little bit unwell, and so they took a cab over here instead and kind of just been trying to like keep in like darker, cooler places as that's just been making them feel a little better on like such an empty stomach. But they're gonna head in and of course just go by the power bars for Maya really quick, as that's the whole reason they're here, and they need to find something to pick up for dinner as well, since they proposed this big family dinner with the other girls. And so kind of just looking around for something nice, though. The butcher's counter really is catching their eye, and they're kind of getting a little transfixed by watching like the butcher cut up like some of these like really like thick juicy like cuts of red meat, and that it's probably just the fact that they haven't been able to eat all day, like all that protein just like really looks really appetizing, and so definitely staring at that and getting a bit of a hankering for a good steak. They're gonna go ahead and shoot off a little text to the group chat that they made, again being like, hey, like, fam, like, how are we feeling about steak for dinner? At the butcher's counter right now, and it's looking really good. And they get back a couple responses pretty quickly, with Maya just being like, honestly, that does sound really good right now. It has been a while. And Lynx being like, you know what, read my mind, bro. And Birdie's like, perfect, glad we're all agree, perfect. Dinner at 7 then, babes. So they're gonna go ahead and act on that impulse then and order 3 cuts of like really nice, tender, really prime cut steaks here to make a really nice dinner, and maybe hopefully over like such a delicious meal they can get Lynx and Maya to bond a little bit more. And at this point they're pretty excited about a nice meaty dinner for everyone. I was gonna have Birdie make steaks for them. Canonically, they're making steaks. In the game, you're going to see them making a crown roast. I swear to God, I looked through the cooking menu like 5 times. Like, I can't find the steaks. Like, I swear to God, I knew where they were in the Sims menu. Like, I cannot find them. So maybe something changed. I don't know, but I'm not going to waste time looking for them anymore. It's not that important. They're making a crown roast in the game. But pretend there's some lovely steaks for them when we get to that part. Okay. We are rolling with the Sims punches tonight. But anyways, we have joined our crew back at the house, of course, as Birdie is back with the food and has Lynx and Maya here at the counter, and as they're getting, prepared to make some lovely steaks for family dinner, there's not too much conversation happening here yet, but Birdie is making sure that they got the orders right for everyone, and because they're like, all right, Lynx, how do you want your steak to be cooked? And she's like, you know what, pretty rare. That's how I tend to like it. And Birdie's like, yes, good, a girl after my own heart. And as they kind of get to cooking already, though, they're just like, Maya, I know that you are a heathen who likes their steak well done, so I got you, boo, don't worry. And Maya's gonna take a pause and then speak up for herself, though, and be like, actually, Bird, could I have it rare like you guys tonight, too? And Birdie's just gonna kind of raise, like, a bit of a skeptical eyebrow at her, like, really? I mean, you never seemed interested all the years before whenever I order my rare steak. And Maya's like, I mean, yeah, I can't grow up and try new things. And Birdie's like, no, you can't. All right, fine. That's what you would like. Then coming right up, 3 rare steaks then. As they just continue cooking and rambling themselves to kind of fill the quiet void here, just being like, oh my God, this is looking so good. I don't know, I was so captivated by these steaks at the butcher's counter when I was like at the store. I was like, don't worry about Maya, got your bars, check the expiration date and everything. God, I just had like super been in the mood for anything all day, and so like super excited. And Maya's like, oh yeah, I didn't really end up having too much time to eat today anyway, so it does sound really good. And Lynx is kind of saying the same of hello, ignore whatever they're doing. Lynx is sort of saying the same of like oh yeah, I just kind of slipped my mind, I don't know, after eating Maya's poisoned protein bars earlier this morning. Cueing a bit of an eye roll from Maya, of course. I just haven't really been feeling like food either, but that is looking really fucking good. As they're all just sort of like staring at these rare steaks, and as Birdie's finishing up here, you know, being like, well, good news, ladies, we can finally get some food in our bellies then. They're just all gonna dig into this dinner. Sims probably isn't gonna do it, they're being slow. But they're all just gonna really just dig in and like ravage this dinner. Birdie's kind of made up like a couple, you know, veggie signs, make a nice, well balanced meal, of course. But it seems that everyone mainly only has interest in these steaks. Birdie must have done a really good job cooking them because they're tasting even more delicious than anything they've eaten in a while, anything that they were planning on, and like Birdie's kind of plan was to have a bit of a family dinner, of course, have some conversation, maybe get to find some common ground between Maya and Lynx, but everyone is just really enraptured and just kind of like tearing apart these steaks and like gobbling them down super duper quick. To where no one's really like talking or anything. They're just kind of focusing on their food, and they kind of quickly get through dinner. So Birdie's gonna go ahead and suggest like, oh, well, I guess we all were really hungry. How about I make us some drinks and we, you know, continue chatting for the night then. And Maya and Lynx are pretty satiated with their meal, at least anyways. They're not even gonna protest, and so Birdie's just gonna go make a couple drinks for them here as Lynx and Maya pacified, at least for now. Maybe the longest they've gone without fighting thus far. Gonna go sit in the living room while Birdie makes some drinks for all three of them to have a fun evening together. I don't know that I'm gonna wait for them to make all three drinks here in Sims, but oh, here, I forgot. I put a little drink tray out. Here, we'll restock the tray. We'll let them just get some like some wine from here. We'll get wine drunk tonight. How about that? And let's let everyone go ahead and grab a little fizzy drink here. Oh my god, please come sit here. They're just gonna kind of chill. The living room doesn't get a ton of use, but when they want to, you know, just kind of hang out and relax, it tends to be where they sort of chills. By the furniture is usually a bit pushed out of the way, just ready for more of a social area. Oh, Lynx. No. Alright, well, let's pretend they're continuing to have their drinks then as they sit down, and to keep the conversation going, Birdie's gonna suggest like, why don't we play a party game or something? I know it's only the three of us, but maybe it'll be a good chance to get to know each other a little bit more, and Lynx will be like, alright, yeah, I'm down for never have I ever or something, making Maya look a little nervous, but she's not gonna protest as Birdie jumps right on it like, oh yes, that sounds perfect. Okay, let's do it. Never have I ever bungee jumped, as Lynx is like already booing them, like, oh, come on, boo, that's so boring. No, like, no basic ones like that. Birdie's like, okay, fine. Never have I ever lost a game of beer pong. And Maya's gonna go ahead and take a drink, but Lynx doesn't. As as Birdie's like, oh my god, you haven't either? Like, okay, we definitely need to team up at some point at the next party. And Lynx is like, oh, absolutely, very impressive. And then Birdie's gonna go ahead and throw it over to Lynx next, as Lynx is like, okay. Never have I ever made out with someone that I didn't end up in bed with later. Getting a little bit more risque here. Can I not make them talk without standing up? Sims, please. And Maya's gonna go ahead and like take a drink, and here, let's just get them into it. Ignore the other Sims there. I just want to get them into a little bit of a talky talk here. So yeah, Maya's gonna take a drink as Lynx is a little like, you know, now are you taking a drink because you haven't ended up in bed with them, or you just like have never even kissed anyone? As Maya's like, I'm made out with someone, alright? Just no, not all of us sleep with everyone that we have affection towards, okay? Uh, as Birdie's just gonna kind of try and diffuse it again and pass it on, like, all right, Maya, go. And Maya's just gonna look directly at Lynx and be like, never have I ever been kicked out of one of my living situations. As Lynx sort of glares back at her and takes a drink, Birdie kind of taking a drink over there as well, being like, Ma, you know, you're fucking me as well with that. Maya's like, yeah, but you want to get drunk, so what's the problem? Birdie is just like, all right, yes, touche. Okay, next. Never have I ever had a one-night stand. As of course Maya doesn't drink, but Lynx takes a big gulp, sort of raising a questioning eyebrow. Birdie, though, like, really, you haven't? Birdie's like, oh, I mean, none of them end up staying one-night stands, so no, I don't count. They always come back for more. As Lynx just kind of giggles at that before pulling out her next one of, all right, never have I ever been in a relationship that's lasted more than 3 months. Seeming kind of like proud about that, actually, as she says it, and Maya takes a sip at that, and neither does Birdie that time either, though, and Lynx is just like, oh, really? Kind of struck me as more the serial monogamist type Maya, and Maya's like, well, I mean, I haven't really been in a relationship before, so no, I haven't had one that's lasted more than 3 months. As Lynx just kind of bursts out laughing at that, like, wait, really? You've never been in a relationship with someone? Come on, aren't you, like, you're at least 21 if you're a junior along with us. That's so ridiculous. Never. And at that, Maya's just gonna kind of be like, all right, well, you know, this has been a really fun night. This was great, but I have some homework that I need to finish. So if you two want to continue to drink, have a good night. I think I'm gonna turn it for now and head on up to her bedroom upstairs, as Birdie's looking a little sheepish since that definitely didn't go how they were planning or hoping, at least. Kind of giving a look at Lynx, and Lynx being like, what? I was just teasing. I can't banter with you guys. Birdie's like, maybe a little more than banter, Lynx, and I don't know. She's not going to respond well to that from anyone other than me, probably. So maybe just dial it down a little bit. Sorry if other Sims are coming in. I didn't kick them out of the house yet. Just ignore it. And Lynx seems like a little bit sheepish too. She wasn't necessarily meaning to like piss Maya off like that far. And Birdie's like, maybe we all should just turn in for the night and yeah. Sorry that didn't exactly go as smoothly as I was kind of hoping, but maybe if you two can just keep to yourselves from now on, we can move forward peacefully. And Lynx is just gonna kind of like nod, like, all right, yeah, fine. And so Birdie's like, don't worry, I'll make sure she's all right. You get some rest. And Lynx is just gonna kind of be like, yeah. She finishes her drink, she's just gonna head on into her room, but Birdie's gonna go ahead upstairs and go knock on Maya's door and make sure that their best friend is all right, since they could tell that she was upset as she left there. And so Birdie's gonna kind of knock and come in when Maya sort of gives a quiet little affirming noise, just at her desk doing some homework, like she said she would be. As Birdie's just gonna be like, hey, sorry about that. I told Lynx she should go a little bit easier on you, but I don't know, I guess she's got a weird definition of going easy on someone. Listen, you're right, you guys don't really mesh. We can look into something different soon, maybe. I'm sorry about that. And Maya's like, no, it's fine. I'm used to girls like her talking to me like that, but yeah, could not have someone like that under my roof. That probably would be preferable. And Birdie's like, yeah, no, I was hoping maybe there was a little more common ground there, but we can we can discuss things. I don't want you to be uncomfortable, okay? And Maya will soften a little bit at that and be like, yeah, thank you. And give her friend a little bit of a hug before saying goodnight. I don't know if I'll get them to hug here, but let's see. Okay, no. But whatever. Birdie will give Maya a little bit of a goodnight hug and kiss on the head like usual. And like, all right, yeah, we'll talk more in the morning. It seems like it's been a long day for all of us, so we should all just get some rest. And Maya's like, yeah. So Birdie's gonna head on back to their bedroom, as Maya's gonna sit and finish up some work for a little bit, but there's been a lot going on today, and she's been a little bit high-strung ever since Lynx has been around anyways, and so this new roommate situation is still on her mind, and as much as she appreciates Birdie, like, kind of saying something, sometimes she does feel bad and doesn't want Birdie to feel like they have to do everything for Maya or, like, have all those conversations for Maya herself, so she decides to, steal herself. She's like, fuck it, I'll be the bigger woman, I'll go talk to Lynx. So she decides she's just gonna go downstairs and have a word with Lynx and just call it that, like, hey, they don't get along, but let's just, keep to ourselves until we can figure out, like, a solution to all of this. And so Maya's gonna head on over to Lynx's room here and kind of knock, giving a quick, like, hey, can we talk? As she's kind of hears some, like, guttural sounds from inside and decides to go ahead and take the venture to sort of peek the door open and step in when Lynx doesn't really respond. And what she sees when she walks in, though, makes Maya gasp out loud and kind of freeze in fear immediately, as when she walks in, Lynx doesn't look exactly like she had before, with a bit of glowing eyes, but Lynx herself seems to be kind of panicking a little, and especially as Maya's in here and sees her, and Maya's starting to sort of stutter out some sort of exclamation of, oh my god, I knew that there was something up with you. As Lynx looks a little bit more and more disturbed as she's staring at Maya get more and more worked up before she goes, Maya? You might want to look at yourself in the mirror. And as Maya looks over and stares in Lynx's mirror, she sees that she's actually sporting a similar look of paler skin and glowier eyes, and starting to freak out a little bit herself, looking at her skin, as the two lock eyes in a bit of fear before they just hear Birdie scream from upstairs, "What the fuck?" And that is where we're gonna go ahead and end our first episode. So we will leave these ladies staring back and forth at each other here, and we will get into a little bit more of the mystery of what's happening next time. We had a bit of technical difficulties. Listen, what is a premiere of one of my Friday shows without a bit of technical shenanigans? So thank you for sticking with me and persevering through some of the issues that we had going on, and me kind of getting back into the groove of doing a scripted show. It's been a while since I did something like this, but we got through everything that I wanted to get through at least, and it went smooth enough. We pushed past all of the Sims being weird and wacky, so hopefully that'll chill out a little bit more next episode. But again, thank you for sticking with me through it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're interested in more, again, a lot of more talk and, like, establishing stuff. We're gonna do some more action, and we'll get into some more answers on things as well next time, I promise. I love you all, and I appreciate you for being here, and I appreciate you for supporting me in all of my creative extra as hell projects that I thrust upon you. So have a wonderful rest of your night and a beautiful rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you all later. Mwah! Nighty night, cuties.